Hello, everybody. Thank you so much to Barry Louis Polisar coming in from Maryland, our new song leader for the day. We are so excited to meet you, Barry, and we can't wait to sing with you in just a little bit. Let's say hello to everybody out there in the universe. Everybody, welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song. For anybody who's new to us, we are one song every day at noon Eastern. We have been doing this since the pandemic started. And today we are on day 1,758 consecutive days of singing. So glad so many of you are joining us for yet another day here. And welcome to another week of New Year, New Friends. So all week long, actually all month long, we've been singing with folks who are new to the Daily Antidote of Song. And the year ends on Friday. And then we're switching over to celebrating Black History Month and Valentine's Day month and love. So please keep coming around. Let's say hi to all the folks on the live stream. Hello, everybody out there on Facebook, and hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We're glad you guys have joined us today. And hello, of course, to everybody in the room. So hello to Barry, of course, and we'll get back to Barry in just a minute. Hello to Ariana running tech for us out of Los Angeles. Thanks, Ariana, for being here. Nan in Michigan, Trish in Victoria, British Columbia. Busy Graham coming in from Silver Spring, Maryland. Hello to Doug Busy Graham is coming in from Easton, Maryland. Hello to Doug in Vermont, Linda in California, Hoda in British Columbia, Delhi in Maryland. Hi, Jonathan, coming in from Rhode Island. Glad to see you again in here. Aloysius in Massachusetts, Marion in Brighton, UK, Gary in Mass, Bob coming in from Albany, Susan in Cincinnati, Ohio, Carolyn in Boise, Idaho, reminding me that it's day 1,758. Thank you for the cue card. Laris coming in from the UK, Sue in Seattle. Nice to see you today. Athena in Brooklyn. Glad you are here. Linda on Orcas Island, nice to see you. Sheila in Florida, hello. Ruth coming in from Birmingham, UK. Neil in Boston, Mass. Kathy coming in from Colorado, great to see you. Kay in Texas. Sarah in Santa Cruz, California. Pauline in Newcastle. Jenny in Suffolk, UK. Kim, one of our song leaders, coming in from Vancouver. I think we're going to sing with Kim in March. We're very excited. Hello, Mommy, coming in from New Jersey. Martha in Oregon. Arlene in California. Amy, glad to have you with us today. Not sure if you're new to us, but we're glad you're here. Jamie in Victoria, British Columbia, Carol in Connecticut, Ann in Nashville, Curly Tops in Vermont. Everybody, let's take a deep breath. I'm out of air. Hello to Eileen coming in from New Jersey. What a treat to see you here today, Eileen. Hi to Sarah in Texas, Nancy in Washington State, Caroline in DC, Benet in California, Louise in Devon, UK, Maggie coming in from California, Marnie from the Pinewoods Board. Thank you so much for being here today, Marnie, coming in from Virginia, Ann in Silver Spring, Elizabeth in California, Bob coming in from Massachusetts, Diane coming in from Puerto Rico. Nice to see you, Diane. Dick and Kathy, song leaders and hosts in here all the time, coming in from Victoria, British Columbia. And Stuart may be new to us today. Thanks so much for being here. Before I forget, anybody who's new, if you want to stay afterwards, I'd love to have a chance to welcome you. Let's all take one deep breath. Whew. All right, so I am so excited today to be presenting Barry Louis Polisar. He has not been in the room before with us by dint of some crazy missing the point, because of course he's such a good fit for our Daily Antidote. He has sung with other Carpe Diem Arts programs before. He is celebrating a 50th anniversary this year of his singing in the schools. He is a song leader, a songwriter, a poet, and has written books. And we are so excited to learn a bunch more about Barry after we sing with him. But Barry, how would you like to start by sharing your first song and maybe teach us the chorus before we get going?
Well, yeah, I can do that. If you want, we talked earlier about maybe singing my song "Don't Put Your Finger Up Your Nose." Before my song in Juno, this was probably the song I was most well known for. A silly song, and I've always sort of embraced the idea of humor as a perfect antidote for almost everything. Satire and humor and being able to laugh at the world and at yourself. That's not to say you're not engaged, but it helps in the perspective. So I'll start with "Don't Put Your Finger Up Your Nose," which I think is good advice, even though it's gotten me in trouble and gotten me banned once or twice before. Don't put your finger up your nose, 'cause your nose knows it's not the place it goes. You can sniffle, you can sneeze, but I'm asking you, please, don't put your finger up your nose, and don't put your finger in your eye. It's not a thing I think you ought to try. You can make it, you can wink it, but I don't think it would be good to put your finger in your eye. Don't put your finger up your nose, 'cause your nose knows it's not the place it goes. You can sniffle, you can sneeze, but I'm asking you, please don't put your finger up your nose. And don't put your finger in your ear, 'cause then your ear will find it hard to hear. You can thump and you can tug it, but please don't plug it. Don't put your finger in your ear. Oh, don't put your finger up your nose, 'cause your nose knows it's not the place it goes. You can sniffle, you can sneeze, but I'm asking you, please don't put your finger up your nose. Don't put your finger down your throat, 'cause that'll only make you start to choke. Then up will come your dinner and you'll start to look much thinner. Don't put your finger down your throat. Oh, don't put your finger up your nose, 'cause your nose knows it's not the place it goes. You can sniffle, you can sneeze, but I'm asking you, please don't put your finger up your nose. At least not in front of me. Thank you. It's a great song. It's a great song in a school concert. Imagine 500 kids singing along to that all at once. It fills the room.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much, Barry. So I love that because so first of all, sometimes we get children's songs in here in the room, and it's such a delight to sort of just be able to like put the cares of the world aside for a minute and be just a little silly or a little goofy. And of course, as with most children's music, there are lessons embedded in every song. It's never just silly, right?
Yeah.
So
Not all of my songs have lessons, but they usually have some point to make. You know, we mentioned before that this was my 50th year. March 1975 was my first school show. And I was sitting around thinking, well, what am I going to do at this concert? I was asked to do a program for elementary kids. And I looked around at what was available. And there were a lot of preschool nursery rhyme songs. And then there was a lot of top 40. And there wasn't really much in between. And so I actually wrote 3 songs in anticipation of doing that very first concert. All were G-C-D chords because I had only been playing a guitar for about a year. And I only knew 4 chords and I didn't want to show off. And the very first song I wrote for kids was, I'm a 3-toed, triple-eyed, double-jointed dinosaur with warts up and down my back. I eat shiny automobiles, tow trucks and airplanes. I love to munch on railroad tracks. I mean, it was a tongue twister. And at that first concert, as I was getting ready to actually after the show was over, a bunch of kids came up to me and were asking me questions about my songs. I was supposed to do a workshop on songwriting with the kids, where I get ideas, how I write. And a bunch of kids came up to me and started asking me questions. Mr. Polisar, where did you get those songs? They're so funny. I told them I wrote the songs. Well, how do you write a song? Where do you get your ideas? I mean, they were asking me these perfect questions that I was hoping to get in the workshop, but the workshop hadn't started yet. And a teacher at the school, who wasn't in the assembly, but she came into the auditorium at the end to collect her kids, came in at that exact moment when the kids were asking me questions. And she started yelling at her kids, saying, what are you talking for? This is an assembly program. You're not here to have a good time. Wipe those grins off your faces. You're acting just like children. And I often tell kids in my audiences in schools that part of being a good writer is being a good listener, looking at the things people do, listening to the things people say. So I immediately went home and wrote a song. I've got a teacher, she's so mean. She never laughs, she always screams. She says, pay attention and do what I said. But if you ask me, she's crazy in the head. And it goes on. Well, I was going to be a teacher before I ever picked up a guitar, before I ever started singing in the schools. And word had spread that I had written this song about a mean teacher. And the next thing I knew, my phone started to ring. Is this Barry Louis Polisar? Yes. Is it true that you wrote a song about a mean teacher? Yes. Well, I'm a teacher, and I want to know, can you come to my school and sing that song? It's a true story. That's how I began my career. I never expected that kind of a song would do that. The last line is, well, the chorus of the song. Oh she always calls on me when I don't raise my hand, so I answer her in ways she can't understand. She says, "What is the answer to number two?" I say, "Ock knock dee dee wop ticky picky poo." She says, "Don't be funny, you better get it right." I say, "Shimmy gimme galla gilly tacky ticky tight." But the last line, "Oh, she can understand me and I've got it made. But I know she really loves me 'cause I'm still in first grade." And the song ends with the chorus. So there's the whole sense of, yes, you can be disobedient, you can act out, but there's still the power structure that you have to deal with.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much. We have a lot of teachers and or educators that come into this space. And so to all of you out there, we've had all kinds of teachers on our educational journey. And it's really nice to be able to talk with you about ways in which, so for example, listening and or being creative, imaginative, asking questions, all of that stuff is playing out right there in your song, and I love it. And then again, just getting to laugh is so nice. We are definitely in a time right now, culturally, I would say around the globe, where things are tough. And so the moment to be able to take a space and just breathe, sing, laugh, let go, buoy ourselves up is so important. And so we're really excited to be in here with you doing that. But Barry, you mentioned the Juno song. So I'm actually curious, how many folks in this room have ever seen the movie Juno? Which is, okay, yeah, that's what I was hoping. One of my all-time favorites, and I love the complexity of it, and how actually there was a lot of news around it, a lot of, people commenting and discussing. And we talked about maybe having you come back sometime and just playing that and talking about that a little more. Maybe we can play the clip from the movie and the song where it's played. But do you want to say anything about it now? I know that was an award-winning film, and I know
Sure.
you've got other awards.
Well, that came in my 30th year of performing, and I always remember the headline. I think it was in the LA Times or somewhere. One of the newspapers said, "Overnight success after 30 years." I literally had been performing in the schools as somewhat of an underground phenomenon for 3 decades. Now, I had plenty of work. I was never a struggling artist. I mean, the moment I started writing and singing songs, schools and libraries all across the country had me performing. I've haven't played in every single state, but I've done a lot of national touring, international shows in Europe when when I was banned briefly in the U.S. But the one thing I never had was that sort of international recognition of people knowing the songs, because I put out the albums myself. I was an independent, and yeah, I might have 500,000 books and CDs and records in print, but when the Juno film came out, they went like platinum like in 3 months. I mean, it was a big company, and you just can't a small individual artist can't really compete with that. But in the beginning, I made that choice. Do I want to go with a major company, or do I want to just sort of do my own thing? And influenced by Thoreau, influenced by Wendell Berry, I was very happy doing it myself. And you mentioned politics. My earlier songs grew out of my political involvement growing up in the Washington D.C. area. During the anti-Vietnam War era, a lot of those songs had kind of undercurrents of social and political issues. And my first album was called "I Eat Kids and Other Songs for Rebellious Children." The album was recorded within a year of me writing all those songs. I mean, I just went into a studio and one take, out of tune guitar, off key singing, but just sang song after song. So with the Juno song, that's a funny story, because that song was written in 1974. I didn't record it on my first album. When it was time to do my second album, I felt like I didn't have quite enough songs, and so I threw it on the album as filler at the last minute. At 30 years, nobody ever asked me to sing it. I never performed it. And now it's sort of the signature song that I have to do at most of my family concerts because people know the song. But it's interesting too because um, it was really sort of providential how that song ended up in the movie. I didn't pitch anybody. I've never pitched anybody for my songs in films, and there have been 4 or 5 different songs in different movies and 3 dozen commercials across the world that have used the songs. Um, the head of CD Baby, when I finally reluctantly made the switch from record album to CDs, I called him up and he said, "Oh my God, yeah! Before I ever formed this company, I used to sing your songs in the circus, and I owe you all these royalties. I want all of your CDs. I don't want your new CDs only. I want all the old ones from the 1970s also, because that's what I know." And because of that, all of my old albums went on to CD and also went into the distribution network, which supplied iTunes and Apple Music and now Spotify and everybody else. And the director of the film was looking for a song called "You Are the One I Want." And in a dyslexic moment, he typed in "All I Want Is You" and found my song and said, "What's this?" Listened to it and said, "Oh, I like this." Now, I have to tell you, I re-recorded that song like 20 years later with more musical qualities, fiddle, mandolin, penny whistle, and I showed him that there's a much better version that's in tune. He said, "No, no, I want the old out of tune version. I like that rough version." And that song ended up, and I must have been in a daze when he called me about that because I didn't remember him telling me it was going to be in the opening credits, played without any dialogue or conversation. And when I was in the theater and it came on, I was like, "Oh my." I got to
Yeah,
sit back and enjoy the rest of the movie.
that's so funny. And it is really like the song is absolutely highlighted in that movie in a really special way. And think about how many times we go to a movie and we hear a part of a song, but not like the song, right? So
Right.
your
So,
song has all this airtime at the beginning of that movie. It is just incredible.
yeah.
And for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, I totally recommend it. It's one of my favorites because I feel like it is so about the humanity, the humanness in every way. And so I do really recommend it. Barry, I know you mentioned that you were going to decide what you were going to sing to close us out
Well,
based
I can
on
do
our
that. I can do
conversation,
that song if you'd like. Sure.
but you'll come back and sing it again another time and we can
If you
talk.
want me to, sure. Happy
You
to.
got it. All
Great.
right. So shall we sing the Juno song, guys? All
Okay.
right. We're ready.
All right. If I was a flower growing wild and free, all I wanted you to be my sweet honeybee. If I was a tree growing tall and green, all I wanted you to shade me and be my leaves. All I want is you, you be my bride. Take me by the hand, stand by my side. All I want is you, you stay with me. Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a wink, I'd be a nod. If you were a seed, well, I'd be a pod. If you were the floor, I'd wanna be the rug. And if you were a kiss, I know it'd be the hug. All I want is you, you be my bride. Take me by the hand, stand by my side. All I want is you, you stay with me. Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a river in the mountains tall, the rumble of your water would be my call. If you were the winter, I know I'd be the snow. As long as you were with me, let the cold winds blow. All I want is you, you be my bride. Take me by the hand, stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were the wood, well, I'd be the fire. If you were the love, I'd be the desire. If you were a castle, I'd be your moat. And if you were an ocean, I'd learn to float. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand, stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. That song actually has a new life. It's used in weddings and engagement rehearsals and things like that. It actually, every album had one or two sweet love songs. I Need You Like a Donut Needs a Hole, Me and You, You're as Sweet as Sugar on a Stick, with a giggle and a hug and a tickle and a kiss. And I finally put all of those songs, all of the sweet love songs, on one album. And it was kind of funny. A few years back, a friend of ours, his daughter was getting married, and they asked me if I would sing that song at their wedding, and I did. I've sung it at a couple weddings, but local here, among people that I know. And a young man came up to me during the wedding reception, and he said, I know that song from Juno, and I really, really like it, but you sing it much better. I said, thank you. I didn't tell him that it was me, but...
That's hysterical. Oh, I love it. See, now if you would have let him use the better version in the movie instead of the right. Or I guess that was his choice, not yours, right? So
there is actually a tag, in the old days, back when there was vinyl records, the song ended and there was about, 60 seconds of silence. And then a cranky old voice comes on and sings, oh gosh, what is it? If you were a cow, I'd be your udder. If you were the bread, I'd be the butter. If you were the candle, I'd be the wick. And if you were a doctor, I'd be sick. I mean, it kind of undercuts the song a little bit. And I remember because a friend of mine was listening to the album, and she said she heard the song, and she said, Barry, that's such a sweet song. It's so different than all your other funny songs for kids. And then that came on, and she cracked up laughing and said, okay, I get it now.
You were in there after all. You couldn't hide yourself.
Right. But when they transferred it to CD, they didn't realize there was the tag, and I guess the tag got listed as a separate song, and I didn't even realize it. And I told the director later, he said, oh, I wish I had known that. I would have put it at the end of the movie.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that would have been a really funny way to end the movie, actually.
Right,
that's
right.
Well, so I love the idea that you have a whole album full of love songs, and I know you have a super busy schedule, so you might not be able to come back as soon as February to sing a love song with us during the month of love. But if not, we'll find another reason to sing about love like any other month in the year, because we need it all the time. In the meantime, is there anything you want to tell folks that you have coming up soon? Any other releases or anything?
Well, when you started the song of the day during the antidote to songs during COVID, I started a song of the day, and on Facebook every day I posted one of my songs. It kind of happened organically. There was a string band out in Ohio that actually covered my song "Don't Put Your Finger Up Your Nose," and they sent me a copy of their cover, because back then everybody was saying you had to do that for COVID and be careful because of the pandemic. And I shared with them a couple other covers that other people had done of the song, and by the end of the day I had posted 20 different songs in this conversation with everybody on Facebook, and so then the next day I did another one of my songs. Oh, you can't say on the radio, you can't say on the radio. And the next thing I knew, I was doing a song a day, talking about what inspired every song, who my inspirations were, the different versions that were available. A few years back, actually, it was planned even before the Juno film. A songwriter, Aaron Cohen, fronts a band called the Radioactive Chickenheads out in L.A., kind of a punk dress-up band. And they had done a couple of my songs as covers on their albums. And he pitched me to do a tribute album where he would get a bunch of other bands and other musicians to do covers of my songs. And in the end, I think it was something like 60 songs and two different albums, a two CD album. And it is absolutely my favorite project I've ever been involved in, because so many of the musicians actually had my albums when they were kids growing up. And I will say that album, as well as all of my albums and all of my songs, all of my poems, all of my books, are actually on my website for free. I do a lot of low-income schools, school visits in low-income schools where kids can't buy books, can't buy albums, but everybody has access to a laptop or a phone. So for years, I've made everything I've ever written available for free in a digital format. So that album, 60 songs, it's amazing. Yeah, it's available on iTunes and Apple and all the Spotify and everywhere else, but you can listen to all the songs there. And there's two I think the album begins and ends with "All I Want Is You." Different covers, totally different. There's also a French cover of that song. I mean, it was an international project with musicians from all over the world, and it was, I mean, it just touches my soul in such a fundamental way. It was probably the best thing of my a highlight of my career.
Wow, that is lovely. Thank you so much, Barry. Let's
Pleasure.
all show Barry how much fun we're having
Thank
in
you.
here. And did you want to play one little snippet of something else to close us out?
Gosh, yeah. This is another song that a lot of people know. Don't necessarily realize it's my song. And it actually doesn't have a sing along part, but it has a breathe along part. It's called "I Wanna Be a Dog." And it goes like this. The part, the sing along part is I'm going to sing, "Oh, I wanna be a dog." And I need everybody to go, "Oh, I wanna be a dog. Wanna wag my tail, chase cars and knock over garbage cans, bite the man who brings the mail. Oh, I wanna be a dog. Wanna lie on the floor, chase squirrels and cats, get fed, get fat, chew your shoe and bark at the door. Oh, I wanna be a dog. I wanna dig big holes, flirt with French poodles and basset hounds, and pee on telephone poles. Oh, I wanna have dog breath, wake the neighbors too. Ow, ow. Well, I'll lick your hand, I'll be the best friend of man. I don't have nothing better to do. Oh, I wanna be a dog. I want my nose to be wet. I've got a college degree now. All I want to be is somebody else's pet.
Everybody give it up for Barry Louis Polisar. Barry, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Yeah,
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thank
there
you.
is just so much joy in watching a room full of adults get to step into being a kid for a little while, right? Because we all either secretly still are or sometimes not so secretly. But like the excuse to do it in community is really lovely. And thank you again, Barry, for all of that
Pleasure.
beauty. Before we say goodbye today, I just want to say a few things. I want to thank Kay in Texas for reminding me that today is the 80th anniversary of the freeing of Auschwitz. And Kay says, thank you for this music and this levity, like especially on a day like today. But I would also like to say it, like so many other things, we're looking at them differently right now in a world that it doesn't feel like 5 years ago or 10 years ago when we were thinking of potentially Auschwitz or Holocaust or other serious topics. There's things that feel very different right now. And so I want to note out there in the world that we're aware of all of the grief and the sadness. We're aware of the hurt and the depth of the problems out there right now. And we come in here sometimes to sing about them and to try to solve them, and sometimes just to let go. And so today was a beautiful day of letting go. And I want to thank Barry so much for bringing all of that to us. I do want to let everybody know who else is coming up right now this week. So as I said, we are closing out New Year, New Friends month right now. So we had Barry today. Thank you so much, Barry. Tomorrow we have Guru Atreya coming in from India. On Wednesday, we have Alex Sturbaum. On Thursday, Eric McDonald. And on Friday, Sean Healy. And all of those folks are new to us here in the Daily Antidote. And then we switch to February, Black History Month, love for Valentine's Day. Kim and Reggie Harris are going to come in, each from their own location, to open up the month for us. And on Sunday, we have Andrea Blackford, who we haven't seen for quite a while because she's been fighting illness, and she is back on her feet. And we are going to be so happy to see her in here again. Thank you, everybody, again, so much for joining us here in this space. Help me please to wave goodbye to everybody out there on the live stream. Thank you so much, live stream, for joining us. We're so glad that you're here. And thanks again one more time for Barry. And Barry, we hope to have you back in here sometime.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Ariana, thanks for running tech for us out of Los Angeles. And let's say goodbye to everybody. So yeah, the live stream, of course, and then everybody in here. Trish in Victoria, Busy, Carpe Diem Arts, thank you so much for helping us keep this program going day after 1,758 days. Doug in Vermont, Marion in Brighton, UK, Kathy DeWitt, one of our song leaders. Glad to see you in the room today. Thanks for being here. Sarah in Texas, Pauline and William in Newcastle. Everybody wave to 100-year-old William. Hi, William. We love you. Susan in Cincinnati, Sarah in Santa Cruz, Lars in the UK, Susan in Seattle, Athena coming in from Brooklyn. Thank you also for date reminders. Kim Bothan, another one of our song leaders coming in from Vancouver Island. Benet in Berkeley, California. Louise in Devon, UK. Linda on Orcas Island. Sheila in Florida. Jane in Texas. Caroline in DC. Ruth in Birmingham, UK. Jamie in Victoria. Neil in Boston. Carolyn coming in from Boise, Idaho. Gary in Massachusetts. Kathy in Colorado. Hoda in British Columbia. Eileen coming in from maybe New Jersey, maybe Delaware. Great to see you today. Martha in Oregon, Linda in California, Dally in Maryland, Anne in Silver Spring, Aloysius in Mass. Stuart, I think you're new to us today. Really glad to have you with us. Fred in Silver Spring, Jenny in Suffolk, UK, Mommy coming in from New Jersey, Arlene in California. Amy also may be new to us today. Carol in Connecticut, Anne in Nashville, Nan in Michigan, Hershey, I think also new to us today. Glad to have you with us. Curly Tops in Vermont, Nancy in Washington State, Marnie in Virginia on the Pinewoods board, Elizabeth in California, Bob, Mabel and the Bears in Massachusetts, Diane in Puerto Rico, Dick and Kathy in Victoria, British Columbia, song leaders and regular hosts in here, Storm in Massachusetts, Annette in California, and Bob in Albany. Thank you so much to all of you for being here today. So glad to have you join us, and please join us again tomorrow right here on the Daily Antidote Song. See ya.